Hi, everyone. This is your favorite realtor, Norm O'Neill with Keller Williams Realty, callnorm.com. Today, I've got a great guest joining me. It's Kyle Manekas from Virginia Estate Planning Lawyer.com. And we're going to talk about probate, estates, real estate, something that comes up a lot in this day and age, and Kyle has a ton of experience with this, so I'm really looking forward to the conversation. Let's jump right in. Welcome, Kyle.
Well, thank you, Norm. I appreciate you having me. I always take the opportunity to talk to folks when they're interested in this subject. It's something I think everybody can benefit from, so if someone has an interest, I'm always happy to discuss, so thanks for inviting me today.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure. I think this conversation, and my clients definitely want to hear what you have to say about this, and I know your clients do too as well. Could you maybe start by explaining what an estate or probate attorney actually does and when someone might need one?
Yeah, no, that's a great sort of introductory question here. So there's really two things that are involved in estate planning. The first is planning for what happens when you pass away. And that may involve using a will. It may involve going to probate. In fact, if you use a will and you only use a will, you're going to probate. But it also can involve using trusts. And we'll talk today about some of the reasons that people use trusts. But in terms of the primary reasons, it's avoiding probate, and we could talk about what those benefits are. And it's also privacy. And most importantly, it's passing things on to your children in a way that is protected from lawsuits, creditors, and divorce. And that's, sort of a quick upshot of the main reasons that people use trusts. There are others, but part of the planning process is getting things in order for those that you leave behind, right? You don't want to leave them a legal mess, and you surely don't want to leave them a situation where everyone's fighting, because not only is that stressful and unpleasant for them, it generally eats up the value of just about everything you left behind when people fight over it. So for those reasons, it's really important. The other part of estate planning is planning for what happens if you become incapacitated, right? If you're a younger person, maybe that means you're in a car accident, or you have a temporary illness and you lose legal capacity to make decisions. For older folks, it may be cognitive decline, it may be medical issues later in life. But if you don't have the documents signed in advance authorizing someone to act on behalf when you don't have, act on your behalf when you don't have legal capacity, then you're in a position where you have to go to court and you have to ask the judge through a petition to appoint somebody. That is not a straightforward, easy process. It is a lengthy and expensive process. But also, Norm, the person that judge appoints doesn't necessarily have to be your family member who you want, right? It can be some third person chosen by the court who then is compensated from your assets and has complete control of your life, medical, and financial decisions. And so when I sit down with people to estate plan, those are the two questions that we're looking to answer. And what I do is I start by looking at what the default process looks like and help them see what they like or don't like about it. And that informs the planning that they want to do with me.
Wow. Kyle, thank you for setting the stage with that information. As you're speaking, all I could think about was there are a lot of moving parts, and it's very important for clients to talk with you as early as possible. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree with that. One, because, we don't get to schedule the time of that we pass, right? We don't know. And I think it's especially true, obviously for everyone, but I think the people who obviously in most need are the people who are older, but I think also younger, right? If you're a young couple and you have young children, it's extremely important that you think about estate planning. Not only that, you want to decide who's going to raise those children, God forbid something happens to both you and the other parent, but also you don't want your assets to be stuck in a probate process for, 12 to 18 months while your young children have needs. And you cannot name a minor child the beneficiary of an insurance policy or a 401k and have it pay out when they're a minor. It ends up in court and ends up in the probate process. However, if people with young children have a revocable trust, they can actually name the trust as the beneficiary of their insurance policy or 401k. And that way those funds bypass the court process and go directly into the trust and are there for the benefit of those children immediately. So just a couple examples, but really, regardless of age range, there's work to be done. And I think for most people, once they appreciate that, they want to get it done because it gives them some sense of peace of mind once it's completed.
And that's what we're really talking about here, right, Kyle? We want to give our clients peace of mind right when they're dealing with something stressful. How could we take something off their plate or prepare in advance to just make it a little smoother, a little easier?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I always say, to some extent, estate planning is an act of love, right? I mean, you're planning and setting things up for the people that you leave behind. You want it to be easy for them. You want them to be taken care of in the best possible way. You want them to be in the most tax advantaged position, right? And all of that requires planning. And so again, it's something you do for other people. And in part, that's what makes it special.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You're helping them through this.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that, the planning. Are
Yeah.
you able to help folks in different states settle and navigate legal proceedings?
It's a great question. So this type of law is essentially state law. There are federal tax implications and a few other, but for the most part, it's based upon state law. So it's slightly different in all 50 states. I'm licensed in Virginia, DC, and New York, maybe adding Maryland to the mix. But when it comes to estate planning, you always need somebody who's licensed in the state that you live in.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Kyle.
Yeah.
It's super important. You know, a lot of folks know family friend, know somebody, but you need someone specific to that state.
That's right.
Rock
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. Laws are slightly different in each place, and you need somebody by license in that state.
Wow, thank you for sharing. That's a huge tip right there. You know, Kyle, I'm thinking about a few questions and I wanted to ask you, at what point should someone call, reach out to you for estate and probate advice? I mean, and when they do call or reach out to you, what should they have ready when they do?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? People always wonder, when is the right time?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime if someone has young children or, beneficiaries that certain they want to take care of, or, they're starting to accumulate assets. Maybe they buy their first home.
Yeah.
Maybe they start to make investments. That's generally the time to talk about it, unless, somebody is already getting, on an age, then you want to make sure you've got some of this stuff in place. But, everybody's situation is different. And that's why I start out with just a 15-minute, introductory call. No pressure. I don't charge for it. It's just for me to understand what is it that's going on in your life? What has you thinking about estate planning?
Yeah.
And then I can help you decide, does it make sense or does it, not make sense? And here's the things I can do. Sometimes I get calls from people who want to get help and do things, but the law just doesn't allow me to do those things. And so I'm very, very straightforward and honest with people. I do not want to do work that doesn't need to be done, and often talk my clients out of sort of more complicated provisions and trusts, because if they don't need it, then why add complexity, right? I mean, I want to keep things, my trusts are very comprehensive. They cover many different scenarios, but I don't want to put anything in there that's unnecessary. That's just my general philosophy. So, but yeah, to get back, that's what that initial call is for, just to help people figure out, do they need something?
Absolutely. Just to get their initial questions answered and then feel comfortable about they have a plan for next steps. What's the one thing you wish every homeowner knew about estate planning?
That's a good question. I hadn't really thought about that before. I would hope that every homeowner would, if I could reach everyone, I would want them to know that there are benefits to doing estate planning above and beyond what they probably know about. A lot of people think, well, it's just, I need to get my affairs in order. I need to get my affairs in order, but they don't really think about, and they aren't really sure what that means. But if that meant saving tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in probate fees for your children, would that interest you? Probably would. Right? I mean, if you could get all your property into a trust and make sure you get a step up in basis upon death and wipe away capital gains for all your children, that would really feel really good, right?
Yeah.
If you knew you could pass everything on to your children in a legal vault that was protected from lawsuits, creditors, and divorce, right? That's pretty good too.
Sounds great.
And I just think a lot of people don't appreciate that you can do these things with estate planning, and it's not unaffordable, right? It's not cheap, but it's not unaffordable.
Perfect, Kyle. You've given us so much good information, food for thought. I look forward to our clients touching base with each of us with their own personal questions or comments down below. I'm Norma McNeil with Keller Williams Realty. Questions, concerns, hallucinations, call Norma.